What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Just, back again with another video. There's your one-stop shop for anime and manga. Let's get into it. I want to start by saying thank you everyone for subscribing. If you're new here, you like my content, you like what I'm doing, consider subscribing, leaving a like, hit the bell so don't post another video, follow me on Twitter, links will be in the description. What's up, y'all? So today we're going to be doing a little bit of a tips video. So I've been just going through my manga collection and I've noticed a few things. I really enjoy like just single volume series, just one volume, you don't gotta worry about nothing. Is that everything's contained in that one story. I really enjoy that type of stuff. So I've been looking through my collection. I noticed I do have a good amount of like single volume releases. So I just want to put y'all on to some single volume releases that I think everyone should have in their collection. So these are just my tops currently. Obviously, I don't have every single volume release out there. There's definitely ones that I haven't heard of. There's definitely ones that I have heard of but not really feeling. To each his own, everyone really likes their own different tastes in manga. But here's my if you like similar tastes to me, here's my take on some of the best single volume releases. And honestly, I recommend every single one of these. They are really good. I do not regret buying any of these series, and I hope you guys enjoy too. And who knows, maybe I could try to put you on to a series that maybe you never heard of or maybe you've been on the fence of. So let's get started with some of the great recommendations for single volume manga. So the first thing I want to talk about is right here, Rohan at the Louvre. And I want to start off with this one because this one is a little bit more unique. If you notice, this thing is huge. So not only is the trim size insanely larger, I mean, just look at it compared to a regular volume. But not only is it hardcover, it's also full color as well. Rohan at the Louvre is more of like a graphic novel type of thing. It is fairly thin. I forgot how much I paid. Let me see. MSRP on the back here is $25. It's highly worth it. I really do enjoy this. I definitely did pick this up. I know you can find this a lot cheaper nowadays because this was a little bit of an older series at this point. So if you don't know, Rohan is a character in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. He was introduced in part 4, Diamonds Unbreakable. Rohan is my favorite character in all of JoJo, and a lot of people say because Rohan Kishibe is a manga artist in the series, this is basically Araki if he was in the JoJo world. That's what a lot of people say. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but I highly recommend this one. Basically, it's a nice full color edition about Rohan going to France, the Louvre Museum, and he's after a mysterious relic, and he uses his stand powers to go ahead and investigate. And it's a nice, enjoyable, creepy series. It's a little more on the horror aspect, but I do highly recommend this one. It's not too crazy, but definitely a nice chill read. I do think everyone needs to check out Rohan at the Louvre because if you want something a little bit more different, because it's not a standard JoJo volume. So if you've never read JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, you can actually go ahead and read this by itself. It doesn't really tie into anything. You don't have to really read anything. Obviously, it helps because you know who Rohan Kishibe is if you've seen at least part 4. But if not, you can go into this pretty much blind and enjoy it at the same pace. So definitely check this one out. The next one I want to talk about is a little bit of a cheat, and that is Black Paradox by Junji Ito. Now, I'm not only talking about Black Paradox specifically because Junji Ito has a whole bunch of series. As we all know, he's basically like the godfather of horror manga. Now, Junji Ito, he does have a whole bunch of different just single volume releases. That's basically all he has. He doesn't have any like real ongoing series or anything like that. He does have different anthology series, but they're all collected in a single volume. Now, for me personally, I have tried a few of Junji Ito's works. I wasn't really a fan of most of them, but Black Paradox, personally, this one I really did enjoy. So this one happens, what happens in this one basically is there's these 4 kids, and they all want to commit self-deletion, and that's where they meet on that, like a self-deletion site. And they all have their own reasons, basically a different version of a doppelganger after them. And it's just an insane, just weird series. They get these different orbs that are essentially the essence of life itself. They go ahead and sell these orbs. And not only that, but they also basically find out that if you destroy the orbs, you would technically dwindle the Earth's population. It's a whole big, just crazy series. It's so much to get into with Black Paradox. I highly recommend this one. This one was my favorite Junji Ito that I've read. But this place on the list is not necessarily for Black Paradox only. It's for any Junji Ito series. I do know heard that Tomie is a really really good one. That's one. That's one of the ones I really haven't tried. But you know, people like Uzumaki, they like Ramina. I've tried both of those. Wasn't for me, but definitely check those out. You know, I think you can find them all in the Viz Manga app. I'm pretty sure. Definitely Black Paradox though. This one was my favorite, so check it out. So sticking to like the horror aspect, we have another one that's pretty much a newer addition to my collection, and that's Toxic Daughter Chi-chan. And this one is insane. So this basically is a prequel to a movie, I believe. Yeah, it's a prequel to a movie. I have not seen the movie. The movie's only in, I think it's only in Japanese. So the movie is called Toxic Daughter. And I believe it's about this character here, how I think she's like a serial killer in the movie itself. So this is basically her backstory. So you read this volume and it entices you to watch the movie. This one is a little bit different. So this one is by Shuzo Oshimi. Shuzo Oshimi, I believe, did Happiness, one of my favorite series. And I gotta say, this series was weirdly good. I'll be completely honest, this one is probably the weaker one on my list. I'll be real with y'all. But it was good. So it's insane horror manga about just this creepy girl who, you know, she's in the back of class. She plays with dead things. You know, she is like into the macabre and things like that. She's like, you know, basically kind of like The Orphan. If you've ever seen The Orphan, she's weird like that, where, you know, she's not necessarily in her right headspace. She does her little creepy things that you can tell, you know what, you're going to grow up and you're going to hurt a lot of different people. So that's basically her backstory in this volume. And then I'm assuming, so in order to really understand her entire character, you need to watch the Toxic Daughter movie. I still have not done that, but I do believe this is still a decent standalone series because it's, like I said, it's just this one volume, and it's a good read. The art is amazing because it's Shuzo Oshimi, and Shuzo Oshimi, the stories are always just a little more complex than you really believe. So I definitely, you gotta check this one out too. If you want more of a like standard horror, that's what this one takes place. It's more like the backstory of like a crazy slasher film. Pulling away from the more macabre, let's go a little more lightheartedness, right? So here, y'all know me, I love my slice of life, and here, A Home Office Romance is by far an amazing, amazing read. This honestly became one of my favorite rom-com slice of life. Y'all know how I like those. And basically, this is made by the same creator that did Sweat and Soap. And Sweat and Soap is by far my favorite slice of life rom-com. So this one it has that same type of vibe. So this one, obviously, if you don't know, it's during lockdown. So we all know what happened during the pandemic. Everyone was locked down. So basically here you have these two neighbors that they end up meeting essentially because of lockdown, you know? They got no one else to talk to. They're next door neighbors. They're both on their balcony. And they just start hanging out with each other, you know? They started talking. They go to each other's houses. And one is an archaeologist, the woman. And I think the guy's with IT. So because they're always stuck at home, they just grow together, and the entire series is their relationship. So from complete strangers to the ultimate ending, and it doesn't feel rushed in that series. I think that's what I really like most about Home Office Romance. You know, it doesn't feel rushed whatsoever. It's a single volume, but their chemistry and their relationship, it feels like it grows at a steady pace. Nothing feels like, you know, it's jumping. Nothing feels sporadic. Everything is done with a purpose, and I gotta say, if you want a nice, beautiful, just one single volume you finish and then a single nice slice of life read, it gotta be Home Office Romance. So the next entry on this list is a little bit of a cheat again. So this one is going to be basically Tatsuki Fujimoto. So that obviously goes for, you know, you got Goodbye Eerie, and you also have Look Back. There's also a few other one-shots that Tatsuki Fujimoto has. I think it's the like before 25 and like after 25, like something like that. Basically the manga that they did, you know, like before they were a certain age and after a certain age. That was like an anthology series. I haven't read that one at all. But definitely Tatsuki Fujimoto, they've been releasing these crazy single volume releases, and Goodbye Eerie and Look Back are probably the most well known, especially Look Back. Look Back, I believe it recently, I think in the past year or two, it got a movie, and it's an amazing, amazing series. So this one is basically about two characters where one is just a regular outgoing aspiring manga artist in school, and the other one is more of a recluse, you know, also aspiring manga artists, and they get together through the school newspaper, and they're basically battling it out to see who can make the best manga. And obviously the one who's a recluse, who doesn't come to school, they have more time to draw, so they're better at manga. So it's just their rivalry, but it's so much more than that. Like that, this series there's a reason it got a movie. It's so complex, and it's an amazing, just heart-throbbing series. This one, it's not as lighthearted as you would think. There are a little bit of a dark twists and turns here and there, but it's definitely a amazing, just one-shot series that you can just easily binge. And then you also have Goodbye Eri. This one is more like the fever dream that you wish you never had. I do really like this one, but I know when I first read it, it was like, I don't even know what the hell happened. So for Goodbye Eri, it's about a character who, his mom is dying of a terminal disease, and he basically films her he films her final days. And it's, again, Tatsuki Fujimoto, they do a lot of complexity with their series. So obviously the boy, he's filming his mother, her final days up to, the inevitable moment. But even after she passes, he meets a girl named Eri, and she basically wants to do essentially the same thing. She wants to create a movie, up until her final days. And it's just an entire, just crazy, bombastic series, because everything that you think is going to happen with Goodbye Eri, some insane twist happens, and it's the plot goes exactly where you don't think it's going to be. It's hard to explain Goodbye Eri specifically, because that one is a little more nuanced, because I don't want to spoil anything for y'all, because I definitely think you need to go into Goodbye Eri blind, and you just have to enjoy it that way. So the final one I want to talk about, I feel like I bring this up every time I talk about like single volume series, and that's All You Need Is Kill. I highly recommend this one. This one is by far one of my favorite series. Basically in this, you have a soldier in this alien war, and he keeps reliving the same day. So in order to get stronger, he needs to kill like the sentinel, or like the main like transponder alien that's actually causing his infinite loop. So while he's reliving the day, he's actually getting himself stronger. So he's been working out, he's getting himself stronger, because at this point, everyone sees him as a rookie. But it's been, I think it's like 100, 120 or so restarts. So now he's basically 120 battles in. He has all this experience that he's accumulated, and now he's going to go ahead and attack the aliens and win this war for everyone and stop his loop. Because out of everyone, he's the only one that knows he's in a loop. And this one, the art is by my boy Obata Sensei. I love Takashi Obata's art. It's amazing. And honestly, the story itself is a crazy, nice, bombastic sci-fi, just pure action. Like from the first page, there's nothing really slow about this series. There's always just something going on. And the art, I gotta say again, if you know Death Note, if you know Bakuman, Platinum End, hell, School Judgment, you know the art style here, and you know it's one of the best. He really is one of the best to ever do it. And I gotta always recommend All You Need Is Kill, because again, single volume, amazing, just action-packed shonen series, and you really are gonna like the characters. The characters are all very likable in them, and just the whole sci-fi aspect of reliving the exact same day. That's a plot point that a lot of people do really enjoy. So again, I highly recommend All You Need Is Kill. This one, I recommend this one probably more out of the entire series that I've talked about today. Definitely, I got to check out All You Need Is Kill. That's all the series that I want to talk about today. Now, obviously, I don't have every single volume series out there. There's plenty of series that I have either never heard of, or series that like I'm not really into, like some of the Junji Ito stuff. But this is what I've collected so far. This is more or less all of my single volume releases that I have in my collection. And I gotta say, I am super excited, because I do not regret a single one of them. And if you want to pick out any one of these series and just give it a try, I really do recommend it. I don't think anyone is going to be disappointed. Obviously, you have to know what type of series you're into. If you're not really a fan of action-packed shonen series, you stay away from All You Need Is Kill. If you don't want if you're not really a fan of horror, or you don't want, slow-paced types of life, stay away from, Black Paradox, stay away from Home Office Romance. Definitely know yourself, and that's where you're going to find the most success if you pick out one of these series. that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new here, you like my content, you like what I'm doing, consider subscribing, leaving a like, and the best on posting a video. Follow me on Twitter. Links will be in the description. This is your boy Just. I'm off this.